The forbidden message. The crystalline towers of the Cosmic Institute gleamed like frozen lightning against the vermilion sky of Centaurus Prime. Within one of its countless grand lecture chambers, 5 alien students huddled around a pulsating, holographic display showing a small blue-green planet. "Earth," said Zorax, his scaled purple skin reflecting the hologram's light. His 3 vertical eye slits narrowed with amusement. "Home to the most peculiar species never invited to join. Our institute." His companions chittered and burbled with laughter. Vex, whose gelatinous body undulated with each chuckle, extended a pseudopod toward the hologram. "Humans are quarantined for good reason." "Not just quarantined," added Nihilith, whose crystalline exoskeleton clinked softly as she leaned forward. Beneath her transparent carapace, bioluminescent organs pulsed with excitement. "They're considered too volatile for contact. They weaponize everything. Even their entertainment glorifies violence." This elite group represented 5 of the most advanced civilizations in the known universe. All had mastered interstellar travel. Millennia before humans had even discovered electricity, their species held positions on the Galactic Council, which had unanimously voted 4 centuries ago to place a strict non-contact directive on Earth. "Look at this." Zorax enlarged the hologram to display a human city. "They still use fossil fuels and construct dwellings from processed vegetation." Fresh laughter erupted, a dissonant symphony of clicks, whistles, and resonant hums that echoed through the chamber. "Silence, please." The authoritative voice cut through their merriment, like a plasma blade. Professor Xylara glided into the room, her body a constantly shifting cloud of luminous particles. Her form brightened momentarily, the equivalent of a frown in her species. "The research period begins now," she announced. "As I mentioned yesterday, your group projects will focus on pre-spacefaring civilizations and their development patterns." Zorax raised a limb. "Professor, our group has selected our subject." Professor Xylara's particles swirled in a pattern indicating interest. "Indeed, so quickly?" "We've chosen Earth," Zorax declared proudly. A murmur rippled through the other students. Professor Xylara's particles condensed slightly, a sign of concern. "A provocative choice," she noted carefully. "The non-contact directive for Earth remains in effect. Your research must be limited to existing records." "Perfectly acceptable," Zorax replied, his eye slits pulsing in sequence, a sign of smug confidence among his kind. "We want to understand why the Council considers them dangerous when they appear so primitive." Professor Xylara's form darkened. "Do not mistake technological development for potential, Student Zorax. The Council's decision was not made lightly." After the professor moved to another group, Nihilith leaned toward her friends. "My progenitor serves on the Council. They say humans developed nuclear weapons before they had computers sophisticated enough to properly control them." "Barbaric," Vex bubbled. "Precisely," nodded Zorax. "This project will be simple. We'll demonstrate how the non-contact directive is likely obsolete. Humans have probably destroyed themselves by now anyway." The group divided research responsibilities and began accessing the Institute's vast knowledge repositories. The records on Earth were surprisingly comprehensive, though most were at least 4 centuries old, dating back to when the non-contact directive was established. Zorax found himself reviewing human military history. The images made his eye slits widen and contract rapidly, his species' expression of disbelief. "Observe this," he called to the others. "They fought something called world wars, global conflicts, twice in quick succession." Vex oozed closer to view the display. "That can't be accurate. No species would survive such self-destruction." "And they developed atomic weapons after the first conflict," Nihilith added, her bioluminescent organs pulsing rapidly with excitement. "Then used them before the Second War concluded." "These must be exaggerations," Zorax decided, closing the file. Primitive cultures often mythologize warfare in their historical records. As the day progressed, the group collected information that increasingly puzzled them. Humans appeared to advance technologically at an alarming rate compared to other species. While Zorax's people had taken nearly 15,000 cycles to progress from simple tools to basic computing systems, humans had made the same leap in less than 5,000 cycles. Their adaptability is concerning, noted Qual, the fourth member of their group. Qual's body consisted of interlocking metallic plates that shifted and reconfigured as he spoke. They advance through conflict rather than deliberation. They squander resources on weaponry instead of elevating their consciousness, added Tellum, the fifth student, whose gaseous form swirled within a containment field. Zorax's eye slits narrowed in contemplation. I have an idea that will make our project exceptional. The others gathered closer as Zorax lowered his voice. What if we actually contacted them? A collective gasp rose from the group. That would violate the non-contact directive, Nylith whispered, her carapace paling with anxiety. We wouldn't physically visit Earth, Zorax explained. Just send a simple message, observe their response. It would make our research unprecedented. It's still prohibited, Vex reminded him, rippling nervously. Only if we're discovered, Zorax countered. And imagine the recognition we'd receive for being the first to make contact in 4 centuries. After lengthy debate, curiosity overcame caution. That evening, after most of the Institute had entered dormancy cycles, the 5 students gathered in the Quantum Communication Laboratory. As senior students, they had access to the powerful transmission systems used for interstellar communication. I've modified this system to obscure our location, Zorax explained as he manipulated the controls. The message will appear to originate from empty space. What should we transmit? Asked Tellum, swirling anxiously. Something straightforward, Zorax replied. A greeting, a few questions, nothing alarming. The message they composed was brief. Greetings, inhabitants of Earth. We are students researching pre-spacefaring civilizations and have selected your species for our project. Please respond with information about your current technological development and social structures. We are particularly interested in whether you still engage in warfare or have evolved beyond such primitive behaviors. Note, your species is considered dangerous by advanced civilizations. We seek to understand why. That sounds condescending, Nylith observed, her internal organs flashing with concern. It's honest, Zorax replied. Besides, they likely lack the technology to receive this transmission. With dramatic flourish, Zorax activated the transmission. The message, converted to a specialized format theoretically detectable by Earth's communication systems, shot across space at velocities vastly exceeding light speed. Now we wait, Zorax said, his eye slits gleaming with excitement. Our project will become the most discussed presentation in Institute history. As they departed the laboratory, none noticed the security sensor that had recorded their unauthorized transmission. Nor did they realize that despite their efforts to conceal their location, the message contained embedded markers identifying it as originating from the Cosmic Institute. What the 5 students had initiated would bring consequences none could imagine. Across the vast expanse of space, their message hurtled toward Earth, a planet whose inhabitants had never been invited to join the galactic community for one simple reason. Humans were far more dangerous than these students could possibly comprehend. Deep within the reinforced bunkers of Earth's Unified Defense Command, alarms blared through the monitoring station. Lieutenant Jackson bolted upright, spilling coffee across his console. The breach detection system had activated for the first time in 15 years. Director, we have an incoming transmission of non-terrestrial origin, he called, fingers flying across the holographic interface. Pattern matches known galactic communication protocols. Director Valeria Ramos stepped away from the strategy table where she had been reviewing fleet deployments. A veteran of 4 decades in Earth space defense, her weathered face remained impassive despite the flashing crimson alerts. Source? She asked simply. Working on it, ma'am. Jackson isolated the signal and ran it through the decryption matrix. They attempted to mask their location, but our systems detected Institute markers. The room fell silent. Everyone knew what that meant. The Cosmic Institute. Humanity had been monitoring its transmissions for over 2 centuries, gathering intelligence about the advanced alien civilizations that had chosen to isolate Earth rather than welcome it. "Display it," Director Ramos ordered. The message appeared, translated by Earth's quantum AI systems. As the staff read the condescending words, jaws tightened throughout the room. "Pre-spacefaring civilizations?" Colonel Orion scoffed, his cybernetic eye whirring as it focused. 400 years of surveillance and they still think we're cavemen." Director Ramos read the message twice before speaking. "They've violated their own protocol. Contact the Global Security Council immediately." Within the hour, leaders from Earth's 8 continental federations gathered via secure quantum holographic conference. The message from the alien students was displayed for all to see. "This is a clear violation of their non-contact directive," stated Premier Zhao of the Asian Federation. "For centuries they've observed us without direct communication. Now this. And from students, no less. Not even an official contact," Director Ramos added, standing before the council with hands clasped behind her back. "We have 3 options. Ignore the message, respond diplomatically, or demonstrate why they were right to fear us in the first place." General Okonkwo, the military advisor to the African Union, leaned forward. "This message reveals something crucial. They've forgotten why they feared us. They mock us while sitting undefended." "We don't know they're undefended," cautioned Ambassador Dasgupta of the Indian Subcontinent Alliance. "Actually, we do," General Okonkwo countered. "Our deep space monitoring has tracked their defensive capabilities for decades. The Institute itself has minimal military protection, relying on non-aggression pacts between member species." Director Ramos nodded. "Which is why Operation Starfall may be our optimal response." The council members exchanged glances. Operation Starfall was classified at the highest levels, unknown even to most of Earth's leadership. "Explain," ordered Chancellor Rodriguez of the United Americas. Director Ramos activated a secure holographic display. The image of a sleek obsidian vessel appeared, its hull seeming to absorb light rather than reflect it. "The UEV Phantom, our first stealth interstellar warship, designed specifically for first contact scenarios." The silent response. The UEV Phantom drifted silently through the void, its revolutionary hull absorbing all forms of radiation rather than reflecting them. Within the bridge, Captain Elijah Donovan studied the holographic display showing the Cosmic Institute growing larger as they approached. The massive structure was even more impressive up close than in Earth's long-range intelligence gathering, a sprawling complex of crystalline spires and gravitationally impossible archways that housed thousands of the galaxy's most brilliant minds. "Final approach vector confirmed," reported Lieutenant Naomi Okada, her fingers dancing across the neural interface controls. "Maintaining stealth protocols at maximum efficiency." Captain Donovan nodded, his eyes never leaving the display. "Any indication they've detected us?" Commander Jackson Way, his second-in-command, shook his head. "Negative, sir. Their scanning systems are sophisticated, but not designed to look for vessels with our capabilities. We're effectively a ghost to them." This was the true advantage of the Phantom. While other Earth ships used technology reverse-engineered from salvaged alien tech and intercepted transmissions, the Phantom had been built from the ground up with a singular purpose: to move undetected through space controlled by technologically superior species. Its quantum propulsion system left no energy signature. Its metamaterial hull absorbed rather than reflected scanning beams. Even its life support systems were contained within nested zero-point energy fields that prevented any emissions from escaping. "Begin full-spectrum analysis," Donovan ordered. "I want comprehensive data on that station, defensive capabilities, communication protocols, power systems, and most importantly, the exact location of our message senders." The crew worked with methodical precision, gathering intelligence as the Phantom positioned itself within striking distance of the Institute. They had trained for this mission for years, preparing for humanity's first direct contact with the galactic community that had chosen to isolate Earth rather than welcome it. "Sir, I've identified the student living quarters based on power consumption patterns, reported Officer Renata Torres from the sensor station. There's a cluster of 5 distinct life forms whose biological signatures match the markers from the message. Excellent work, Donovan acknowledged. What about their defenses? Minimal, as expected, Commander Way replied. The Institute itself has basic shield technology and emergency protocols, but no serious weapons systems. They rely on the Galactic Non-Aggression Pacts and their remote location for security. Their overconfidence is our advantage, Donovan said quietly. Position us within 500 meters of the main communications array and prepare the infiltration team. Meanwhile, within the Cosmic Institute, chaos had erupted. Professor Xylara's particle form had condensed to its most dense state, the equivalent of extreme anger in her species, as she confronted the 5 students in the administration chamber. Beside her stood Director Tholis, the Institute's imposing leader, whose crystalline body reflected the room's light in fractured, ominous patterns. Do you comprehend the severity of what you've done? Director Tholis's voice resonated through the chamber, each syllable causing his body to flash with internal light. The non-contact directive for Earth exists for profound reasons beyond your security clearance. Zorax's eye slits had contracted to bare slits, a sign of extreme distress in his species. Director, we meant no harm. We believed humans to be primitive, incapable of even receiving our transmission. That assumption demonstrates your profound ignorance. Professor Xylara's particles swirled violently. The Council didn't isolate Earth because humans were primitive. They were quarantined because they were deemed too unpredictable and potentially dangerous to integrate with galactic society. Dangerous? Vex bubbled incredulously, his gelatinous form quivering. How could they threaten species with our technological advantages? Director Tholis moved closer, towering over the students. Because in the brief time we observed them directly, humans demonstrated advancement rates under pressure that exceeded any species we had encountered, and their response to perceived threats was invariably disproportionate. A chime sounded from the communication panel embedded in the wall. Director Tholis glided over and activated it. Director, came an urgent voice. The Council demands immediate communication. Long-range sensors detected an anomaly near our outer defenses. It vanished before identification, but given recent events, they believe it might be Earth-related. Director Tholis turned back to the students, his crystalline body now pulsing with a deep, ominous red. What have you unleashed? Aboard the Phantom, Captain Donovan reviewed the final mission parameters with the infiltration team. Lieutenant Commander Rai Patel, Earth's foremost xenolinguistics expert, would lead the 6-person team into the Institute. Remember, Donovan emphasized, this is not a military operation. We're making a point, not starting a war. A point with teeth, sir, Patel noted, checking the non-lethal neural disruptor at his hip. Precisely, Donovan nodded. The mission objectives remain clear. Infiltrate the Institute, locate the 5 students and their supervisors, and bring them to the designated meeting point. No unnecessary contact with other species, no property damage beyond what's required for access, and absolutely no casualties. The infiltration team donned their adaptive stealth suits, technology that had been in development for decades, designed specifically for operating undetected among alien species with sensory capabilities far beyond human standard. One final thing, Donovan added. When you make contact with the targets, deliver the message exactly as authorized by the Global Security Council. No improvisation, no embellishment. Understood, sir, Patel confirmed. We'll let humanity's actions speak for themselves. As the team prepared to depart, Communications Officer Victor Petrov turned from his station. Captain, I'm detecting a surge in communications from the Institute to various points across the galaxy. They're sending distress signals. They've realized something's wrong, Commander Way observed. Donovan's expression remained impassive. Too late. Proceed with the mission. Within the Institute's central security nexus, alarms blared as systems administrators from a dozen different species worked frantically to identify the source of the anomaly that had triggered their deep space sensors. Could it be a sensor malfunction? Asked Eldon, a technician whose multifaceted eyes allowed him to simultaneously monitor multiple screens. Negative, responded Corral, whose species possessed natural quantum computing abilities. 3 separate systems registered the anomaly before it vanished. Something was there. Something that could mask its presence from our detection grid. Director Tholis entered the Nexus, his crystalline form now pulsing with rapid flashes of color, a sign of extreme agitation. Report. Director, we've initiated emergency protocols and notified the Council, Corral explained. Whatever was detected appears to have vanished completely, or is employing technology beyond our detection capabilities, which is impossible, Eldon added nervously. Our detection grid incorporates the most advanced technology from over 300 species. Director Tholis's voice dropped to a resonant whisper. Unless it's something we've never encountered before. The implication hung in the air. No species known to the galactic community possessed stealth technology sophisticated enough to evade their sensors entirely. No species except, perhaps, one they had deliberately avoided studying for centuries. Increase security around the student quarters, Director Tholis ordered, and initiate full lockdown protocols. Back in their living quarters, the 5 students huddled together in growing fear. Their communication privileges had been revoked, and they awaited the Council's decision regarding their punishment. We've ruined our academic careers. Nihilith's bioluminescent organs pulsed weakly with distress. We'll be fortunate if expulsion is our only consequence. It was only a message, Zorax protested, though his confidence had evaporated. How could they possibly? The lighting in their quarters suddenly flickered and died, plunging them into darkness. Emergency illumination activated moments later, bathing the room in an eerie blue glow. What's happening? Vex's gelatinous form quivered anxiously. Probably just a power fluctuation related to the security protocols, Qual suggested, his metallic plates shifting nervously. The door to their quarters slid open silently. The 5 students turned expectantly, assuming security personnel had arrived to escort them to another meeting. Instead, 6 figures stood in the doorway, bipedal, wearing form-fitting black suits that seemed to shift color subtly to match their surroundings. Their faces were obscured by visors that reflected the room's emergency lighting. Tellem's gaseous form contracted in shock. Humans, he whispered. Lieutenant Commander Patel stepped forward, removing his helmet to reveal his face. The first human visage any of these alien students had ever seen in person. His expression was calm, professional, and utterly without the primitive fear or aggression they had expected. I am Lieutenant Commander Rai Patel of the United Earth Defense Force, he stated in perfect galactic standard, his pronunciation flawless. You recently sent a message to Earth inquiring about our technological development and social structures. He paused, allowing his words to sink in. We've come to provide you with a first-hand demonstration. Outside in the hallway, Institute security forces lay unconscious, disabled by neural disruptors calibrated specifically to their species' neurological patterns. Technology Earth shouldn't possibly possess according to the Institute's understanding of human development. This is impossible, Zorax stammered, his eye slits dilating with fear. Earth is under a non-contact directive. You cannot possess interstellar travel capabilities. Patel's expression remained neutral. We received your message. We're here. Clearly, your understanding of Earth's capabilities requires significant revision. He gestured toward the door. Now, you will accompany us to meet with your director. The Global Security Council of Earth has authorized a formal response to your inquiry. As the students were escorted through the darkened corridors of the Institute, past security systems that had been disabled with surgical precision, the magnitude of their error began to dawn on them. They hadn't reached down to contact a primitive civilization. They had awakened a sleeping giant.